Network Entertainment.
Hello to everyone all over the world. Magkakasama na naman tayo sa isang gabing puno ng kwentuhan, tawanan, and bardagulan kasamang leading voices of the Filipino youth at Pernang Ganito Kasi Yan Specials. Powered by the Pod Network. And kasama niyo pa rin ang inyong wandering go-getter ng Quezon City. It's your boy, Jacob. And of course, we're joined today by a doctor who has achieved so much in the span of her years in pageantry and medicine. And of course, her advocacy. For our guest today, let us all watch this. In this episode, we sit down with Dr. Gabbi Carballo, Miss Echo International Philippines 2026, as she prepares to represent the Philippines in Egypt. Gabbi opens up about her journey in pageantry, the experience of competing on the Miss Universe Philippines stage, and the pressure that comes with carrying expectations on a national and international platform. We also talk about her path through medicine, the inspiration behind her advocacy, and how she continues to balance purpose, service, and personal growth while navigating this season of becoming. This is Gabbi Carballo on Ganito Kasi Yan. Let us all welcome Dr. Gabbi Carballo.
Hello.
Doc Gabbi.
Hello, thank you for having me. Thank you for the invite. Fresh from Cebu.
Yes. How is Cebu? How is life after winning Miss Universe Philippines?
It's really nice actually because one thing I'm grateful about with my title is I get to go home a lot. So I don't have that many obligations here. I fly here for work or I fly here for preparation for Miss Eco. But aside from that, I get to spend a lot of time at home still. So it's a blessing for me that I still get to see my parents. I get to hang out with my friends and all that. But yeah, I love living in Cebu, no doubt. Everybody knows how much I love living in Cebu.
Actually, I miss Cebu. I'm from Cebu.
Are you actually?
Yeah. From Talamban.
So pwede ay ta magbisaya.
Pwede.
But your viewers.
Yeah. Pero yeah, I actually haven't been home ng around 1 year because of work and studies, but I really miss going home to Cebu, lechon, and also going around the city, riding the jeep.
Yeah, it's homey there.
Yeah. What's your favorite part about Cebu?
I mean, I just love that it's like a perfect balance of a city and like, you know, that province island feel.
Mm-mm.
So I feel like life is a bit slower. I'm the one who drives there. I don't drive here in Metro Manila, but there, like, I really feel like I can have full control over my day. I have my favorite coffee shops, like my go-to places every weekend. So I really feel like it's just a nice place to settle down. So eventually, that's definitely where I would want to settle
I
down.
love that. But isn't it traffic na rin sa Cebu?
It is, but like at least you know, if I leave my house anytime, like at least my house is central in Cebu. It's in Lahog.
Ah, sa Lahog.
Yeah. So anywhere, it will take me 30 to 35 minutes to get wherever I want to go. But maybe if you live in other areas, it will take longer. But yeah. So I'm very central, near Ayala. Yeah.
Near sa IT Park.
Yes.
Yes. And of course, one of the new things here in GKY is also talking about what we have consumed lately and what we have been doing. So this is a segment wherein we share stuff that we have consumed lately that you wanted to share with people or with your fans. So what is something that you've been enjoying, that you have been consuming, watching, listening, or you've listened to?
So for me, I have this strange obsession with travel vlogs.
Really?
Yeah, so I have these like two. They're an American married couple named Kara and Nate. They're like double income, no children. They travel everywhere. They've
dink.
gone to dink. They've had in their first year of travel back in 2016, they traveled to 100 countries in the 1 year.
Wow.
Yeah, so they completely, like, they left behind their corporate jobs and then they pursued travel full time. Now they've been in the YouTube space for 10 years and then they do all these big challenges. Like the guy ran 6 marathons in 6 days in the desert, the Sahara Desert. For 6 days, every single day he ran a
Wow.
marathon. So like mga extreme challenges. So I find it cool because sometimes when I'm just in the condo, it's like I feel like I get to travel through their videos. So that's what I've been consuming. I like seeing the world even if I can't physically do it all the time. But travel is definitely something I did a lot of the last year because
Do
of
you
the
see
title.
yourself doing more of it or parang trying something like that? Especially after your reign as Miss Eco International Philippines.
Yeah, no, trust me. I actually, as a kid, I really wanted to travel a lot more. I grew up in the States. But then my mom was like a full-time nurse in the ER. My dad had like a 9 to 5 job. So it was really hard to get everybody to be able to travel. So after I won Miss Universe Cebu, one of my prizes was a trip to Europe.
Wow!
That was the first time I went to Europe ever.
Grabe yung price pala sa ano.
Yeah, Miss Universe Cebu.
Yeah.
Because my local director, her husband is like the consul to Germany.
Okay.
So we went in through Germany. And then, yeah, I was able, right after graduation, I went to Europe for the first time. But then I went again because of that.
What
And
countries did you go to?
I think we started in, well, I've been to Europe twice. I went to Switzerland, Italy, Germany.
So that's part of the price that you got.
Yeah, yeah.
So how many countries?
I think during that trip after Miss Universe Cebu, I think we went to 3. So
Wow.
France, Germany, and Spain.
Wow,
Yeah.
grabe ang price pala sa ano, sa local.
Yes. So that's why like it's so funny because the people in Empire, when they saw I plotted it on my schedule, they were like, "Oh wow, like, you're traveling right away." I'm like, "Yeah, that's my prize from Miss Universe Cebu." They were so happy for me. They thought I was going for like just my own accord, you know. But no, it was fully taken care of.
Oh, so this
by
was
Cebu.
after you won MUPH.
Yes, because what happened was I was crowned December in Cebu.
Yeah.
And then there was only 2 months. Of course, I'm preparing for my national competition. So what we did is they waited na lang till after I was done and then made sure to ask like the head management in Manila, is it okay if we claim the prize now and we go? So I did a fashion show in Germany. So it was so cool.
So parang ano, perfect reward after
Yes.
MUPH. I love that.
Super.
Ang ganda. Pero MUPH, did you get something like that too?
Travel, we weren't able to travel yet. We did go to Palawan though.
Oh wow.
So yeah, we were able to go to Palawan. And
was this during yung competition or
no, after na.
After na.
So only supposedly we were gonna go during the competition, but then the schedule got so tight. So what we did na lang was the top 6, we all got to go to Palawan.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
Private
that.
island type of thing. It was really nice.
What did you love about Palawan?
I mean, it's just a place where I feel for me as Miss Eco,
Yeah.
they found such a balance in really ecotourism. So the lodging is like, made out of natural materials. And then I got to learn how pearls are farmed and stuff like that through Jewelmer. So it was really nice to be able to see that in the flesh.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, so since we talked a lot about your pageantry journey, we know that you were undefeated. You're the said undefeated queen in Cebu. Before this, of course, this was just a dream that you started with. Can you tell us more about like where this dream started? Was pageantry something that you really wanted to explore?
It was
growing up?
never something I wanted to
Really?
explore. Yeah. I actually think I've seen a few beauty queens say that. That it's like, I didn't want to be a beauty queen, stuff like that. It's one of those things that like, when I was a kid, I was like 10 or 11, I would have titas who were like, oh, like, you should join Miss Universe. You should do Miss Universe. And me, I was a sporty kid. I grew up in the States. So like every season of the year, like winter, spring, summer, fall, there's always a different sport. So I played every season. So I did basketball, track and field, volleyball, soccer, everything the whole year.
Did you do yung mga ice sports?
Skating, no, because I was from Florida, so there's no ice.
Yeah.
It's hot. It's very similar to here. So I did not everything. I wanted to pursue volleyball professionally after college, but then I realized soon enough that I was good in school, but I wasn't good enough to be pro. So I then was discovered in a small Chinese restaurant in Lahog, and that person decided to make me join my first pageant, which was Miss Mandaue 2018. And then since then, I was like, I fell in love with it because the first pageant I got to see what it's like putting an advocacy project out there, seeing the effect that it has on people. And since then, I was like, I think this is something I really want to pursue.
Per that time when you were approached, what was your mindset nun? Was it like what convinced you to go for it?
Well, so the one who discovered me was Mami Carrie Santiago and his close friend Jonas Borses. So Jonas Borses in Cebu, yeah. You're from
Yeah.
Talamban.
Yes.
So you would know.
Yung salon.
Yes. So Mami Jonas Borses was with Mami Carrie. So Mami Carrie knew my mom since my mom was in college. So Mami Carrie said hi to my mom. And then I noticed that Mami Jonas kept on looking at me, like kind of like assessing my face. And I kid you not, my eye grade was 600.
What?
So I was in really thick glasses that like, like when your grade's so thick,
Yeah.
it distorts
It's a
your
thick,
eyes when you wear glasses. So I was like haggard as heck from school and everything. But it's so crazy because he had an eye for potential. So he asked for my number, and then I did do a school pageant for fun because my classmates forced me. And then after that, he told me, watch Miss Mandaue 2017, see if it's something that you want. And I had a gut feeling in 2017, like I think next year I should join. So I ended up joining the same year as Nicole Borromeo.
Oh.
We were against each other in 2018, but we were friends already ahead of time because of our moms. Our moms were classmates in college. So that year was my first pageant. And then since then, I was like, I love pageants because it celebrates you as a holistic individual. As a jack of all trades, master of none, I felt like I'm celebrated as a totality here. So that's why I loved pageants.
But aside from pageantry, what was something that you really wanted to do?
Well, I've always really wanted to go into anything I always wanted to express a creative side, but of course, so contrary to doing medicine.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my family is primarily medical. So my mom's side is all nurses, nurse practitioners in the States and all that. So I did nursing to kind of follow what they wanted me to do. But then I fell in love with it as I went along. And then I graduated in 2020, peak of literally the start of the pandemic. So my plan was at that time, I would work in the US because that was what, everybody did, stuff like that. But then my mom was like, are you sure you want your first work experience to be in the US during a pandemic as a nurse? And I was like, shoot, that's right. So all doors open for me to go to med school. So they accepted applications, even if the everything was delayed, the TOR was not out, my transcript of records was pending, stuff like that. So I was like, well, if the opportunity is opening to go to med, and then there's literally nothing telling me that I couldn't do it. So I'm like, yeah, I think it's meant to be. So I did it. I also fell in love with it. And so med is definitely the side where I get to be like a low-key individual. Although I like being in the public eye, for sometimes I'm not meant to be in it forever. Like I definitely want some quiet and some normalcy and to be in the hospital without any makeup and anything. So yeah, I just feel like there's so many facets to my personality, and I need to be able to express all of them. That's how I feel.
I love that. And parang it's really important na we get to celebrate and also do so much about the facets that we have. Kasi parang it's really hard lang if there's just one facet of us. Like for example, with you being a doctor, but you know that you also have your creative side as a beauty queen, as a advocate. It's really important to have that outlet to do something outside of your usual routine.
Yeah, because I think it's nice. You have to I'm big on balance. I'm a really big person on being able to, even if for example, I'll have events for 4 days. So after that, I'll rest for 3, or I have to make time with friends, but also make time to work. It's really big on me to have homeostasis in my life. Yeah.
Have you gotten back into in your journey in medicine after winning ba?
No, not yet. There's too much. It's hard to be flying back and forth while working in the hospital. So my plan is probably by January of 2027, I'm going to be back again in the hospital.
But what if you win the
Well,
crown?
we'll see, because it depends on the kind of if I get a lot of work that comes in, then okay, we'll see. But hopefully, taking it one day at a time. It really all depends though. After May, after the coronation in Egypt, whatever happens there is when I will decide what's
so
happening
everything's
next.
fixed until May lang.
Yeah.
So everything after May, let's see where this goes.
Yes.
But siguro, I've been wondering, medicine is a very heavy path. Like I know a lot of people, classmates of mine, that are doing medicine right now, and it's heavy. It's really something na you really need to put your mind and soul into. How did you do that with pageantry?
Yeah, so well, most people there's some people who think that I went on duty while I was doing MUP. That's for sure not the case. But I did balance local pageants with med school.
Yeah.
Uh Strangely enough, my grades were higher than they ever were.
Wow.
I don't know if it's because you end up getting pressured that, like, let's say I have events. I only have a 2 hour window to study. So I have to study. Like, I have no choice but to make sure my study habits are good enough that 2 hours is enough for me to do well on the test. Imagine I tried taking an exam in Singapore because it was online at that time.
Ah.
Because it was 2022, so medyo hybrid pa siya.
Yeah.
So I studied, the flight to Singapore is like 2 hours, 2 to 3. I told myself I'm not allowed to sleep on this flight. I have to study the whole time because I have an exam in 2 days online. So I did. I stayed awake the whole flight. It's the only time that I had to study. And then when I was there in Singapore, I just excused myself from the group. I said, I won't go with you to the Merlion because number one, I've already been there. And number two, I have an exam. So they were like, okay, they always understood school. That school was first for me. I always made that a really big priority in whatever I did. So I took the exam. So what we had to do is like proctor. So we would be on Google Meet and then the phone's in the back and then my laptop is on the table. And then I took the exam. It was the highest score that I had all year. Like, so our exams are out of 50, our long exams, out of 46.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, maybe I should come to Singapore more often, or maybe I should travel and study more often. Because I think it's like, I really had to time block. Like, sometimes when you don't have a choice, you have to be really, really efficient in the small amount of time that you have. So I did a lot of studying on like how good study habits or like, how to just make sure that you dealt with your time really well.
Wow. And I think it's also another aspect that you love what you do. Kasi you become more motivated you get more motivated to study well because you also know that you need to devote some good time also for your for pageantry.
Yeah, and it felt like an escape naman, like having events, stuff like that. It felt like, okay, finally my brain can kind of turn off and I can just like be smiling and like enjoy and stuff like that. It felt like recess.
Did there ever come a time wherein med school was too heavy for you to have pageantry also?
Oh yeah, there was no way in the senior year of med. It was impossible that I could have done a pageant then because you're going on duty like 30 plus hours in the hospital. So I would have been like so drained. What I did still do during that time is I did fashion shows from time to time. So I came from a 30-hour shift. So 30 hours is I go in at 7 a.m. I get out 12 noon the next day. And then what I did is I took a nap and then I went to rehearsals for the show at like 4 p.m. After I did my makeup, I fell asleep, woke up, walked the show, and then went home and then slept again until 7 a.m. the next day. So it's like, but then again, like what I'm saying is it felt like recess for my brain, like doing something that I loved. And that's why I knew that I had to pursue pageantry because it was one of the things, like going to events and things like that. It's one of the things that I could do without worrying without thinking if I'm getting paid or not. So I knew that I was passionate about it and that I loved it. And I think a lot of us should find things like that for ourselves.
I agree. Kasi parang it's really important na you find that middle ground or escape na even if during the difficult times you find another avenue for you to recharge. And I think another question I have is as someone that recently graduated, I've been talking to friends who went law school, med school, na parang some of them really had to sacrifice doing theater, their creative outlet. What made you be able to pursue both? What allowed you to not sacrifice any of it?
Well, I really wanted both things. And that's the thing. One of my favorite stories that I ever experienced was I was in waterfront hotel in Cebu, and we had a fashion show that day. I was on the third floor. I get out of the elevator, or no, this elevator's taking way too long. I'm kind of getting a little bit irritated. But then there's this little girl who comes up to the same floor, and she was like looking at me a lot. I was in full makeup. I was in the outfit enough for the show, and she's like really shy. She's probably 5 years old, and she asked me if I was a model. I know her mom asked me if I was a model. So I was like, yeah. And then she asked her kid, do you want to be a model? And she said, no, I want to be a doctor. And then I told her, I'm also a doctor. Like, you can do both if you want to. So it's like a big thing for me that we don't limit ourselves. Like, because sometimes I feel like if I limited myself to one thing, if I completely lost that, well, I also get lost in the process. So I am really big on like just having different outlets. Because now, to be honest, like now that I'm like fully into like events and hosting and stuff like that, my brain wants to find an outlet again. Like
So
it's,
you miss,
I miss having duality. Yeah, I like having both sides of the coin. So like I don't also want to put myself so deeply into something because at the same time I don't want to like place my full identity in anything. Like because I just feel like I might get disappointed or maybe like I'll my expectations are too much for one thing. So I just like having both. I like having a balance of like I get to do things like in the public, but I also get to do things that are quiet. So that's why I told you that I wanted to start a podcast. Because for me, it's like, it's really a passion of mine to like have meaningful conversations and learn about deep stuff clearly. So yeah, I think it's like I'm also trying to launch a business this year. So everything's kind of all coming together. It's a big year for me. Like there's a lot of things happening.
With a lot of things going on, how do you manage to do it all? Like, honestly, from med school pa lang, parang, I honestly am amazed how you make time, how you still have sleep. Kasi parang a lot of people, magkulang lang ng sleep, ang stress ng haggard, you're so fresh, you look so beautiful. So how do you maintain that you do everything and you're on top of things despite all the commitments that you take on?
I mean, it's not easy. I really have to be super intentional with my time. Like, ever since med school, I learned the importance of like making a to-do list the night before. So what I do the night before, I like put out like things I need to do. The top things are the most urgent things that I need to do, like non-negotiable. Dapat tomorrow I do this, no question. And then the other ones later are like minor things, like replying to your email when you reached out, like stuff like that. So that everything that I have to do gets checked off. That's like the main way that I get through things. To-do lists are my favorite thing. Checklists really just get through with me. But I'm not saying that I don't get burnt out in my mind because of it. Like sometimes I'm like, oh my God, there's too many things going on and I really need to calm down. So sometimes I'll hang out with a friend or escape from that a little bit, take my mind off of things, push my laptop away, close it, and like sometimes I allow myself to have like lazy days from time to time where I don't reply to anybody and like I just play pickleball because that's what I've been like doing as a hobby recently. So yeah, I think it's just like I'm really intentional with time and where I spend that time. I'm picky with the people that I hang around. I'm picky with where I share my heart and stuff like that. So yeah, I think it's all about being my word would be intentional with what you do.
I agree. Especially with a lot of things that you do, you need to be very more intentional in where you put your energies into. Kasi parang that's also you choosing where to invest your time and where you invest the tiny bit of like you only have 24 hours in a day. We need to be very more smarter in where we put those times.
Yeah. I've already put time limits on my phone.
Wow.
Like for the social media apps. Because that Instagram and TikTok take so much of my time sometimes. I really put a limit, like dapat 2 hours per day. But even that, I want to make it less now. Like I want it to be 1 hour.
Love that. So what was the hardest part of med school? What was the hardest part of navigating it all? What were the struggles that came with managing both pageantry and medicine?
I think struggles wise for when I was balancing was definitely just like I didn't have, obviously something's got to give, right? You can't do everything. I didn't spend that much time with my family and friends. That was what was sacrificed for those two dreams to happen. But more so, that was basically the major challenge. I think the most difficult challenge was in my fourth. It wasn't when I was balancing. It was when I was in fourth year and I was in clerkship where it was very anxiety inducing for me. Just because there's some fields, like for example, OB, obstetrics, where you don't know when a patient's going to come in and like go into labor. So I realized I don't like fields where I don't know what's going to happen. I can't be, that's why I chose to go, I want to go into aesthetics because people have to set appointments. So I know the next day who I'm going to get, what they want from me, not like all of a sudden, like it's 2 a.m. and someone is like, you need to come to the hospital now. Like that's not for me. I can't, I'm too, I think, structured for me to be okay with something that's that crazy. Because why I say it was anxiety inducing for me was because I got to the point where I would like be crying before leaving the house. And my dad was like, are you sure you want to keep going? And of course, my pride is high. So I was like, of course I'm going to keep going. But then there's like a tear running down my face. And I finished it because I know naman like that everything that's worth it takes challenges and takes sacrifice. And I just knew like one day at a time. That was always me and my barkada's like motto that we would share to each other. Like just take it one day at a time. If not one day at a time, one moment at a time.
I agree. And ang hirap lalo na fourth year na yon. Parang hirap na i-let go everything that the blocks, that foundation
Yes,
that you
imagine.
already set up.
Yes.
Everything that you achieved before getting here. So I remember you talked about getting into getting into aesthetic and being a dermatologist. So how has studying medicine changed the way you see beauty, confidence, and also self-worth?
Yeah, that was one of my favorite questions that I saw in your brief because having medicine as a background is big for me in all ways because I see life very differently. I know how fast it can be taken away. I know how fast it can change. And that makes me look at people very differently. It makes me want to make sure that when I talk to somebody that I tried my best to be encouraging to them, to be a warm and a safe place for them, because I realized that like you never know when something's gonna happen to a person. And of course, I also like to I really am an empath at heart. I used to be a really cold person with barely any emotions when I was in college, but medicine taught me how to have empathy and how to like see things from people's perspective. And so it helps me with my advocacy work. It helps me with, I do a lot of personality development workshops for girls in pageants or even like students who are around like college level, a little bit younger than you. Because I just feel like it's such a crucial time, college, where you're really choosing decisions that will shape the rest of your life. And so I'm really passionate about like making sure that people are safe in that time because let's be real, that's the time that we go out. That's the time that we party. That's the time that we experience life and all the craziness of life. And we have a little bit of freedom. So I'm really big on being there for the youth because you never know. Again, I've seen too many people who come in because of drunk driving. I've seen the realities of what life can bring. And it just makes me appreciate people more. And that's what I carried with me throughout the whole Miss Universe Philippines. Like, I want to see everyone, the judges, the owners of the org, the people I'm with as human. Like, they're just other people. They're not someone who I have to be scared of, but they're people that I have to welcome and people I have to be kind to and hope that they experience life in a better way because they met me. And I think that's why in my Q&A, I talked about the posture of your heart. And I talked about how, like, if we're not leaving a positive impact on people, then we have no reason to live on this earth. Some people took that negatively, but it's like, no, you should be encouraged to like do your best to contribute good things to the sphere that you are given.
I love that. I got curious lang. When you were talking about personality development, was it only for girls who were competing?
So far, the ones I've done are usually for girls who are competing, but I am looking forward to doing talks for like universities, for like, I don't know, I did an eco talk recently in a university in Pangasinan like 3 days ago. And I just love how open people are. I love how open people at that age are. Because when I was 19 to 21, like, that's the time I made some questionable decisions, in my life. I was not always in the best place. I did not always make the right decisions. And so I think having somebody who will be honest with you and like what they went through is really important. So it kind of re-guides you back. But yeah, it's something that I want to even make into a part of my career even.
Interesting. So what goes into personality? I got curious lang. What goes into personality development for girls in pageantry?
So it's like obviously girls in pageantry, you see everyone talk about their advocacies, right? They talk about their projects, they talk about what they want to do and change in society. But in pageants, I'm really, at least my approach is like teaching the girls that there's more to you than this crown. Because I don't want the worst thing that happens in pageants is you like tie yourself so tightly to the title or to the accomplishment that you lose yourself. And then if you don't win, you think that you don't mean anything. And so what's important to me is like that the girls know, no matter what the outcome is, that you are still worth so much. You have so much potential. There's so much you can still do in this world. Like pageants are amazing, but it's this small of a part of your life. Like for me, after this happens, it's time to like graduate. I mean, it's time to graduate from pageantry. Like there's years ahead that I don't know what's going to happen. So it's just important that a person is rooted in values or like a belief system that is greater than just being on stage, answering Q&A and all that. For me, like I tell the girls, if you want to have a good Q&A, you really need to know yourself really, really well, your moral standpoints on everything. So that's why my personality development circles on really morality, viewpoints in life, stuff like that. Because you want the girl to like, when people ask you a question about politics, it's easy to answer it when you know what your belief system is. If you know that you're against certain aspects of government, or you're against certain you number one, you don't want people to die, like stuff like that, you'll know how to answer the question based on morality. You don't have to like memorize an answer if you know already in your core what your belief system is. So that's my approach to personality development, because I think it's like I loved hearing talks from like Venus Ra when I was younger, because she's so inspirational.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, like it's just nice to have people remind us of what's actually important in life, because again, it sucks when you tie your identity to something and then in the blink of an eye it's just like you don't get it or it's not yours, stuff like that.
I agree. And it's really, really important to know your core. And also, I love what you said na parang there's a lot more beyond the crown. Kasi parang, that's an importance na parang, na the crown doesn't define you. There's so much more that happens. Or you can be a lot more. You can achieve so much more, that the crown isn't just, it's just an icing on top of all of your achievements. That if you get crowned, that's another good plus in your in the things that you've achieved. But a crown doesn't define you. So siguro since we were talking about values, I wanted to know a lot also, and also talk about what shaped your advocacy. What allowed how did you, because I know that you've also founded several advocacy efforts and projects in Cebu. So, what inspired you towards heading towards those kinds of projects?
Yeah, I see. The thing is I've always believed that an advocacy project should be less about what I'm passionate about and more about what's actually necessary and needed. So what happened to me was when I was a nursing student, we were exposed to the community. We adopted a community, and then we had to interview homes around that one barangay. So when we did, multiple homes were talking about how poor waste management was in their barangay. So I was Miss Mandawi at the time, and I was like, shoot, well, if that's a problem they're saying, I need to do something to address it or help them with that. And so that's where it started. I also went through a painful breakup in college. And so all that free time of me wanting to stay outside of the classroom made me realize that like Because of course my boyfriend at the time was my classmate, so I'm like, gotta get out of here. I don't want to be in the classroom all the time. So I held meetings with the Mandaue City government, and I was like, this is what I want to do. These are the projects that I want to do. What would you support me in? So they really thought that the environmental aspect was a perfect way to go, and so that's when one of my mentors had a really good ongoing partnership with Mandaue City Central School, a public school in Mandaue City. So we asked for permission there. We held workshops where they learned how to segregate waste. We focused on kids from grades 4 to 6 because that's like formative years where they'll really remember what they learn. And so from there, we started now, like Steffi Aberasturi, she reached out to me like, can I work with you guys in your project? So she donated these basketball shaped trash cans, like basketball ring shaped trash cans, so that at least what they learned, they could apply it with like in a fun way where they're shooting the trash into the trash can. And then since then, like sometimes I get hired for plug and play stuff. Like, can you do a workshop here in a different school? So I've done it in I went around different public schools in Cebu. So that's where it started. And then after I turned over my Miss Mandaue crown, I was like, so what do I do next? And then I realized that advocacy work continues even if you're not crowned anymore. And it really made my life feels super purposeful. So that's where it all started. So it's grown now. It's still growing. There's still things coming, but I'm grateful because I was still 19 when that was launched. Yeah.
Mahilig ako makinig ng podcast. Eh, ikaw? Mahilig ako gumawa ng podcast.
Buti na lang, may podcast na ang Spits!
Yay!
Ano yung mga topic natin, guys?
Julius Babaw.
Oh, wow!
Isang team tayo.
Ooh!
Kung friends ba talaga tayo o hindi.
Kung papasok tayo sa bahay ni Kuya.
Favorite ko rin yung pinag-usapan natin, yung origin stories natin.
At saka origin ng mga games.
Yes! Kaya tara, let's makinig na kayo sa Tawa Let's with Spit in partnership with the Pod Network. Makinig kayo sa amin. Spit Manila. Spit.
How did you mount that kind of organization and that advocacy, especially in the age of 19?
I had the right people around me. So the two of my mentors, one of them, like I said, he worked with Mandaue City Central School. The other one, she was already big on philanthropy since before I met her. So she had like the team, she had the mind to really make everything work for me. So now because basically my other mentor, the girl, she beat cancer at the age of 28.
Oh.
So she decided to use her second life as completely dedicated to service. So she was the one who really helped me to get everything together. And by God's grace, she's because Miss Mandaue changed for a little bit. It was taken over by somebody else, but now she just came back and she's now heading Miss Mandaue again. And so I'm happy to see a next generation of queens that are going to be purposeful again and really like driven to do projects, because she's really such a wonderful mentor, and I'll forever like owe so much of my beginnings to her.
Sobrang perfect pala na you got the Echo International crown out of all the crowns that were handed out during that night.
Yes, when I got it, I was like, I understand. Like, I completely get it. Because to be honest, during the competition, I tried to quiet it down that my advocacy was about the environment. Like, I would say it's about healthcare because, health and environment are tied.
Yeah.
And I was a doctor, so I said, I'll just approach it that way. Because I knew that if I was so loud that it was an eco-related one, I was like, I'm going to get Miss Eco International. But I'm so sure that they still knew anyway. And then that definitely was a consideration. And which is easy naman because there's something existing. I can still talk about it now. And so that's why it's still an organic direction for me.
And it's nice kasi parang this is an advocacy that you've been doing for so long. Na parang, kasi diba there's question na parang there are some pageant queens na whose advocacy only surfaced during their competition or when they competed internationally. What's nice about you is this is something that you've been doing even before competing. And I believe this is something you would be doing even after your reign as Miss Echo International Philippines.
Yeah, it's I do like to encourage like girls in personality development workshops, like really find something that makes you passionate. Like, of course, like I wouldn't say that I'm like the loudest environmental advocate. I'm not the person who refuses to use plastic straws. I'm not, but I definitely do think we all have a space to fill. I have a cousin who is very, very passionate about the straws and changing of cups at the cafes and stuff like that to more biodegradable materials. But if that's hers, then mine is speaking about it, because my gift for me, I think, is speaking and in conversation. So like I think we're all given different strengths, and it's just up to us to figure out where they fit in and what causes make us passionate. I think the cause that makes me most passionate is really people. I just like being a place where people can, be inspired to become a better version of themselves. And it just so happened that because the first people that I got to really speak to who actually had to share real life problems talked about the environment, then became something like, well, if these people care enough about it, then I will also care about it because I care about them. So I just think that like you don't always have to be like, oh, okay, I'll advocate for mental health because I went through something mental health related. Of course, it's good because you relate, but at the same time, have you interacted with actual people who have also gone through the same thing? Like it's important that we also immerse ourselves and we understand the audience that we're catering to. And I think it's good for girls to like really interact with people. Like it really, people is like my main word, because what are we without community, right? What are we without other people? And so I think we should just get to know people more.
And especially ang daming nangyayari in Cebu recently.
Yeah.
Like the floods, the earthquake. There's a lot of disasters that been happening in Cebu, and it's really important. I think the call for environmental conservation and a lot of environmental programs is really important, especially in these times in the country.
Yeah, Cebu produces 600 tons of waste per day, and we don't even have enough space to like place them in landfills. So now what's happening is in next month, Cebu is going to have a really big problem with trash because one of the contracts is going to be ending with one of our landfills. So now it's like, so what happens next? At the same time, I'm really also vocal about not always pointing the finger at like government for everything. I just think that my role is really encouraging people to also do your role, which is to limit your waste if you can. I know it's easier said than done in a country that uses sachets and we have a lot of single-use plastics, but like if I know that corporations and businesses are trying to also do their best to change their packaging, stuff like that. I think it's like everyone is an interplay of everybody and we all have to do our part.
I agree. And with you going international this year, how do you hope to bring your advocacy and the local impact it has made to the global stage and to make global conversation?
Yeah, definitely. I'm going to be covering some of the stuff that we've done and putting it onto social media. But at the same time, our approach this year is that I'm going all over the Philippines. That's why I was in Manila, because I went to Pangasinan. We showcased the ecotourism at 100 Islands in Alaminos. We were able to do tree planting also in Alaminos at the like mangrove tree planting. Really getting to, oh my gosh, there's this like it's a 10 episode series. There's this one episode that's going to be covering this amazing woman who for the last 50 years, she has been collecting the Mountain Dew and like any of the green bottles, glass bottles. She's been able to support her whole community because she collects them all. They all like break them into small pieces and then San Miguel buys them. So then she's employed so many people in her area. And then the new bottles that San Miguel uses are made out of recycled glass from their old products. So it's like, it was so amazing because she brought a lot of people in her community out of poverty because she decided to do that 50 years ago.
Wow.
Yeah, so we're covering that story. It's really amazing to me. Like just seeing the efforts of other people. And I think it's uplifting for other people in the Philippines because it's like, even though you think that like, yeah, the environment is struggling, but there are really amazing people with these stories that we are going to be revealing.
How do you hope to take the stories that you've learned or the stories you've encountered towards the global space, especially with competing in the international stage?
Yeah, it's definitely something that I'm excited to talk about. I get to share it in my closed door interview. I get to have conversations with my co-candidates about the stuff that's going on. And to be honest, I treat the pageant right now, it feels like a diplomat event. Like it's like one of those things that everybody is representing their countries and all the struggles that their countries are going through. And we all get to have conversation on like, what are your countries doing about it? What are you not doing about it? How can we integrate that into our countries? Like it is a competition, but it also does feel like you're bringing together people who care about something. And that's a big deal. Like, and it's important that we look at it that way. I don't want to get caught up with like the whole glitz and glamour of everything, because like I genuinely also think that's why this title was given to me, because I've always been more advocacy driven than anything else. And so I'm just like excited to see what I get to learn from them and what I can share about what we do in the Philippines.
I agree. And parang I feel like it is a good opportunity to learn about like how other people do it, how other countries are handling their environmental conservation, and also share about how the Philippines is doing it. And of course, speaking of the Philippines won last year. How do you handle, or how is it also coming into play into navigating this journey that you're aiming for a back-to-back win in Echo International?
I understand that it's so challenging because I think the last time that we tried to get a back-to-back was 2022 to 2023. It was Kathleen Payton to the next girl, I think Ashley Subihano. And so
Who's competing this year?
she is competing this year in Miss Universe Philippines. So I definitely think that there is a challenge in that, because obviously all eyes are going to be focused on me, and if I can really live up to it, the expectation is higher. So it's hard, but I feel like the way that I've always tackled, especially since Miss Universe Philippines last year, is that it's such a mental game. You know, you need to learn how to talk yourself out of negative ways of thinking, because it's just a distraction. Like I see anything negative in my brain that doesn't encourage me as a distraction. So I have to get rid of it. Like if I start hearing it like, oh, you're going to be like, you know, you have to like show up with like all this pasabog and all these like really crazy shoots to make sure that you level up. Like, actually, no, I don't. Like I didn't get to top 6 at Miss Universe Philippines because I had the most pasabog. I was one of the quieter ones. But like you show up and you work and you train and you prepare, you do all the work, and then you let that speak for itself. That's why I really love Bea Gomez from Cebu, because she plays in top 5 in Miss Universe, and she was just herself. Like she would go down in literally her like gym clothes, because like it's not a moment that actually matters. I think now there's so much eyes in pageantry with media and like so many cameras and stuff on you that sometimes you get lost in it and lost in the sauce, and you think that like that matters more than like the judges, or that matters more than people interacting with you every day. So it's really about rerouting your brain waves that like, okay, that's a distraction, get back on it, get distracted again, just pull yourself back into it. It's a constant like process.
I love how you referenced Bea Gomez, another Cebuana.
Yes.
And I remember one of her interviews wherein parang she was asked about her being quiet and parang wala masyadong pasabog in her campaign. I think this was before she flew, and then parang she said something about they should be careful if I'm being quiet kasi it means she's preparing for something. And totoo naman, and she plays really well. She placed in the top 5. And I think there's this notion kasi recently grab na kailangan everyday may pasabog, everyday grabe yung outfit. And I think parang hindi naman lahat yun nasa scorean. Yung important is the day that matters, yung preliminaries, the final night.
Yes, that's completely true. And like realistically speaking, when you talk about like not everybody has the financial capability to show up like that every day. I did not during my pageant last year. So I had to put the money where it was most important, which was prelims, finals, not costs, stuff like that. And then of course I put in the work for Pasarela. I put in the work for Q&A, like cover all the bases that are completely necessary. it's not even a whole know when to peak situation. It's literally just focus on like back in the day, that's all that people had to worry about. You didn't have to worry about much else. So in the end, even though times change, things that are important stay important. And you just have to like make sure that you're not getting distracted. Because if you think about it, like, because I was new, I could have easily said like, I want to be the most hyped candidate and do something to get that. But meaning I'll spend my precious resources to like do all these like big shoots and stuff, but like not actually put in the work to perform well on finals. So you have to weigh it out. And that's what I like telling girls, like orienting them to reality that, yeah, it's a loud pageant world right now, but at the same time, like the things that are important are still those same things as years ago.
I love that. And last year, you've been talking about this, about preparing for last year, and you competed in a very tough batch. You had a lot of seasoned veterans. You had a lot of newbies who were front runners as well. What did that experience teach you about like confidence and then staying secure in your own journey?
To be honest, Miss Universe Philippines was the most transformational experience of my life. Not in a bad way at all. I really was so happy the entire time. And I remember being like told like it's really a mental game. So when I knew that, I was like, okay, I gotta prepare, like prepare everything and especially my mental space. So it was not, it was like actually really an honor to meet like Win-Win, because like I've known about her for a long time, and when I met her, she's exactly how she is online. That girl is one of the most genuine people that I know, and she's warm and everything. And like getting to really humanize people that I've seen online for so long was one of the most meaningful experiences, because you realize that we're all not that different. We all experience life in different ways. Everyone becomes, they have this face in the public eye, but they're still just a normal person who likes gaming or who likes watching YouTube videos while they eat. Like me and Yana, we both, when we eat, like when we were in Palawan, we're both the type to like put our phones on the side, watch a YouTube video while we eat our food. Like it's those small things that I get to see about these girls that, before I just see them on Instagram or like their photos and stuff like that. And then being secure, I had to place my security in something that was other than the pageant. Like, so me, I'm a Christian, so I read the Bible every day. I really spent a lot of time like refreshing my mind every day. And so there was a time that, of course, the pageant media all have their own opinions, right? So there are hot picks that come out and stuff like that. There was a time that I realized, shoot, I'm actually starting to believe that I can't make the top 5 or I can't make the top 6, because I would talk to my parents and be like, I'm actually okay if I don't make it to top 6. But then I realized, well, what the heck is that? Like, what the heck is that point of view? Like, where is that coming from? And I realized that even if I wasn't like hurting because of seeing myself not in the top 5, I realized it was really changing the way that I thought. So I had to like run and be like, okay, I need to fix this point of view. And I read something that was like, basically a runner that doesn't finish the race will never see victory. And the farmer who doesn't wait until harvest will never see the fruit of his labor. And so that reminded me, like, this is 3 weeks before coronation. I was like, I have to get my act together. I have to like still keep training. I have to keep showing up and like having really good, like making sure my makeup's good every day. When I had to wake up at 2:30 in the morning for makeup, I was like, I'm doing this because there's a whole island of people who are waiting to see how I show up today. So it was really connecting to like people, purpose, and really calling for me that kept me in it. And it kept my energy high the whole time, which is why my performance on Coronation was very energetic, positive, very genuine, because I was like, I am meant to be here. Like I worked my way towards this moment, and how dare I not enjoy this moment? When I stepped out for opening prod, I was like, oh my gosh, it's been a dream to be on this stage and I'm finally here. So my whole pledge to myself before I started the pageant was, I can't ever look at this experience as anything other than a gift to me. And so I'm so happy that I carried that the whole entire time. It was so fun.
I actually wondered, parang, kasi I've been seeing a lot of posts recently, especially kakatapos lang ng press presentation, na parang, sino yung hot picks ng ganitong vlog, sino yung hot picks nito, sino yung top 3 niya. Parang I was wondering how it affected the girls. But I love that it never, it did face you a bit, but you never allowed it to get beyond you or parang get to be distracted by that noise. But siguro what do you have any advice, like for example, especially for girls that are competing this year, to how can they drown out the noise or how can they use these noises to their advantage?
So I always took things objectively. So if I saw myself at like, let's say, I was always in hot picks, but I was just like rarely ever in like the top 5. So I would ask myself, okay, what was the last exposure we had? May it be like a fashion show? And I rewatch my performance and I'm like, okay, is this worthy of being top 5? And then objectively speaking, ask my trainer about it, if he was happy with it. So it's like one of those things that you have to take every advice with a grain of salt. So if at the same time, you have to be open to the fact that you're not perfect. You're not going to be the best all the time, and you have to be okay with that. But that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be putting in the work to do so. Like you want to give, every time you get to step on a stage, you want to give a performance that's winner worthy. But then the opinions of people is not what you should base your self-worth off of, especially that you realize, like for me, again, humanizing people who make, like are the vloggers and the pageant media, they're people who are passionate about pageants. They're literally just people. Like when I would see them at events, you can just talk to them like, how was your day? And sometimes I would compliment them on the shirt they're wearing because like I'm like, oh, I like your shirt. Like they're not like, neither of us are higher than the other. It's just two human beings fulfilling their kind of role in their life. And so that's where I got to see it, where I shouldn't feel pressured because I'm a human and so are you. Like what you say is meaningful to me, but it also doesn't define me. Just like if I were to like share about them or like to post about them, repost their stories, like that doesn't mean anything else other than the fact that we're just appreciating each other's work. And so yeah, it's really about like even the people who are like the biggest CEOs in any company, they're still just a human being. So it's interesting because yes, it humbles us because like I am just a person, but also it makes us feel okay because we are just people. So I think it's just something to remember that like we're all just doing what we're passionate about. The vloggers are doing it, we are doing it, and let's just celebrate each other for it.
I agree. I love that mindset. And I believe that should be the mindset of every single one, even the girls competing this year. And siguro, I just wanted to revisit this question or parang ask about this because I know that you competed in a very strong batch. How was it na parang you were competing against the Atisas, the Winwin, the Yana Aduana, the Katrina Legado? All of them were very seasoned, Parang how did you not get unfazed by that kind of level of beauty? Or parang yung mga ganong kind of veteran beauty queens?
So I really had to look at it that like we're all trying to do our best. They're doing their best. I'm doing my best. And so it's like, I just knew that I had to focus on what I was doing. I couldn't hyperfixate on anything that they were doing. And I focused a lot on like making friendships, making relationships with people. Like it wasn't so, of course I was like, wow, like I was so shocked when Atisa was at our contract signing. Like, oh, I thought she was visiting us or something. Like,
yeah, I saw that in Chelsea's live.
Yeah, I thought it's like, oh, like a reigning queen's visiting us. All of a sudden she sits down and I'm like, whoa, like, so she's joining. And so, but I didn't feel like scared about it. It was really more of like, it's just another person who's trying to chase the same dream as me. Like, it's like I look up to her and I can learn from her. But it's also like, that doesn't mean that I have to be scared that like my chances are lesser or anything. It's just like, it makes it more exciting, actually. It means more people are watching our coronation and more people are excited because they're there. They're like the flag bearers who carry a bunch of fans who really, really love them. And so, yeah, I think it's really mindset based. And I was lucky enough to get to know them along the way because they're women who have achieved things some of them years before me, like Win-Win years before me. And there's so much to learn from people like that.
And and siguro correlating it to what you said. You're just there, you're just the girls wanting to fulfill your roles, wanting to achieve your dreams. Na parang, she's also there because she wants to achieve her dream, which is to represent the Philippines. You're just there, you're all there for the same purpose.
Yeah, like every girl who joins a pageant dreams to be Miss Universe.
Yeah.
So we're all fighting for it. And I think that's what I like about the trend now, that girls are joining a bit later in life compared to before. You would see like people a lot
18
17,
to-
18,
yeah.
19. Like, although our Miss World Philippines is young.
Yeah.
So, but
she's
I was so
18.
amazed with her too. But I just feel like in Miss Universe Philippines, to have life experience and to have some maturity really helps, because you focus less on comparison and you focus more on your own space, because you learn that growing up. I mean, you and your classmates choose different courses, and then you have to be okay with letting go of your friends and your classmates. So there's a power that comes in being a more mature woman. I was 26. So there was a lot that I already experienced that I got to carry with me. Mindsets, the way that I deal with people, and all that, the way I treat people.
I love that. And also, so your next question ko na lang for you is, you're competing internationally this year. We've seen several bits of how you're preparing. And we know, of course, there's a lot of celebration once we get the crown, once a girl places. But siguro, we don't really talk that much about the weight that comes with the preparation. So, what's the struggles that the girl competing internationally faces?
Well, funding. So if you're listening to this and you want to sponsor me, if you have a business that you want me to like promote, if you guys, especially if you guys have like eco sustainable projects that you've been doing that you feel like need visibility, I'm your girl. I will help you, because like I'm really big this year on like, so during Miss Universe Philippines, I asked like a lot of family for like abroad and all that, if like, do you want to support me? And they would send me money. So that carried me through the competition. But this time I wanted to do a more like purposeful approach. I didn't want like people just, okay, here's money. Like that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for ways that I can collaborate with people who have values that are aligned with mine, who have businesses that need more visibility, that I can help them, gain that. Kind of like hiring me as an influencer for that, but more specifically, like it would be nice if it was like related in any way to the environment. So that is one. Another thing is like logistics is really difficult, because Miss Eco International has 3 costumes, has three gowns. So having to coordinate with all the creatives is really different this time, because now my network has expanded from just Cebu to now having some connections in Manila. So I'm flying like back and forth, meeting with people, because it's always better to meet in person. Even though the pandemic taught us a lot of like Zoom calls and all that, there's really nothing like meeting with an individual in person. So yeah, it's a lot of brain power. I feel like my brain is squeezed like a towel, and like there's just a little bit of water dripping out now, like it's decreasing. But I have to keep in mind that like this is not just for Cebu anymore, it's for a whole country. Like a whole country. And that's like, it's kind of overwhelming at first, but then again, it's like, but that's why I show up. That's why I have to like make this effort. I invest in myself, I have to trust that there's something here for me. Like if this was the crown given to me, then there must be something here that I'm trying to learn. If it's not the crown, then there's some person I'm supposed to meet, or there's some lesson that I'm supposed to learn. Stuff like that. Like I always feel like there really is a purpose for everything. So it's really just about me figuring that out along the way.
I love that. And I agree. And we're all excited for you. We hope that we could see you again internationally with that crown. So I was wondering, like, this is for our final question. So as a modern Filipina that navigates multiple dreams, have there ever been moments when the pressure to be everything feels overwhelming? And how are you learning to soften towards yourself?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I definitely think as a pageant girl, we're also expected to be like perfect in all aspects.
And do everything.
Do everything and be nice and not have an attitude and be inspiring, even if sometimes we struggle, and like we're really beacons of hope. But that doesn't mean that we don't have days where we're like not feeling hopeful at all. Like there are really days where like it's really hard to get up and prepare for things. Like it really becomes more of an effort. So for me, to deal with the pressure is really, again, finding balance. Like, for example, I celebrated Sinulog this year in Cebu. And then, of course, throughout the years, more and more people have learned my name. And when I'm there inside the parade, like they say hi and all that. So there's like this voice in the back of my head that's like, you can't be like having too much fun. Like you can't be like really like dancing too much because like you're Miss Universe Cebu City or something. And then I realized like, no, there's a way to balance that out. Like I can have a good time, but then like, let's say a few minutes later, I'll go to the side and like take photos and like say hi to people. Like I don't want to be that person ever who's going to say like, no, I don't want to take photos with you. Like no, because these are people that like they are happy because they see you. And I knew, and from the beginning when I decided to do a bigger pageant, I knew that it had to be about people. So like I would feel really bad if I would get to the point where I don't make time for them, you know. So it's really big for me to find balance. But at the same time, I really like also spending time with family. I like it when I get to speak with them and really enjoy their space and enjoy their presence. So what I do sometimes is at my homecoming for when after I was crowned as Miss Eco, I had really taken like an hour to take photos with fans. Like I let them come up on stage and take photos. After I sat down with my family, there were some people who still wanted photos, but I was already comfortable sitting with my family. So I just asked them, can you take a selfie from there? So I don't have to like go there. So at least I'm not being rude to my family. I get to stay there and spend time with them. At the same time, at least we still have a photo where I'm like looking and like saying hi. You have to find a balance between responsibility, but also not forgetting about the people who mean the most to you. So that's where I'm finding like everything now. Because like, what is it to be perfect in the eyes of the public if the people who I owe everything to, I can't even like be there for them? So that's where I'm like, especially that I'm getting older and like my parents are getting older. Everyone around is getting older. And then there was recently an accident in Cebu.
Yeah.
You know about that, right? Like where your life could just be like taken in an instant. And so I don't want to like forget about the people that I love when at any moment, if I'm too distracted by like my responsibility too, something could just happen like in the blink of an eye. So I just feel like I feel like I'm maturing, and I feel like it's like, although yes, of course, when you're like early 20s, you're like, oh yeah, I want to be known and I want to be like, I want to make a name for myself. But at the same time, you get a little bit older and you're like, yeah, I want to make a name for myself, but also I don't want to lose myself in the process. So I think it's like, I'm really open online with the sharing about things I'm going through on my TikTok. I share about like, I process a lot of emotions like with people online. When I go live, my questions are all like deep questions, like how should I navigate, you know, med school, or what should I do about my relationship? Like it's like, it feels like counseling and stuff like that, just because yeah, there's a pressure to be perfect, but I also want people to know that like I've been through the same thing. And sometimes I feel like now we value authenticity over everything. That's why I saw your episode with Joy, with our Jusa. Yeah, no, I got to judge with her, and she's so multifaceted. Like she's funny, but she can also be deep, and she has a lot of substance. And so she goes live on TikTok like with no makeup in her pajamas
every night.
Yeah, her and Chelsea is one of the funniest girls that I know. And so like to see these girls that at one point they're always full glam to just be themselves, like it's so refreshing. So it's like we don't have to be
It's like
perfect.
the dress to impress pa.
Yeah. Like imagine they're like wearing like a towel pa on their head after the shower. I'm like, I love this kind of content because it's like we have freedom now to fully just be ourselves in the most raw state. And I hope it makes other people feel more comfortable with sharing that side of themselves too.
Yeah, and without that expectation na beauty queens have to be full of glam every single day, na every time that they see you dapat prim and proper. Meron ding funny side, and that's something that we really appreciate, I guess, with these modern queens that we've had. And we're excited to see your journey. We see a lot more from you, Doc Gabby. And siguro this is your time, siguro to promote your socials. Where can they follow you? And if, for example, if how to support you if they want to provide or support funding for your Miss Echo International bid.
Yeah, so guys, thank you so much for listening to our conversation. I love moments like this, so thank you for the opportunity, for sure, to do so. You can follow me on Instagram at Gabbi_Carballo, and then on TikTok, I am Gabbi Carbs, and then on Facebook, I'm Gabbi Carballo. I just also started a YouTube channel, so that's, I think, at Gabbi Carballo also. But yeah, for me, I know that it's not a place for everyone to be able to share financially. So that's why, for sure, if you know somebody who does need support in a business in terms of promo, please do reach out. I reply on all platforms. So don't be shy to do that. I promise you, I will see it and I will reply to you. At the same time, if you don't have the means to do so, I would never expect anything from anybody. But I just do hope that you keep tuning in to the things that I post. If you want to find a safe place for you to be inspired or to learn something, I hope we can learn together through all of my different platforms. And hopefully I can meet a lot of you in person one day. I have met a lot already, but I just hope that we can walk through this life together, even if we may not ever meet. So thank you guys so much. Thank you so much. And just, I'm excited for maybe the next time we'll talk. Who knows?
Yeah. Hopefully with a crown.
Yes.
Already.
Fingers crossed.
With a bigger crown? Yeah. So thank you so much, Doc Gabby, for spending an evening with us here in Ganito Sayan. And it was such a meaningful discussion. And if nagustuhan ninyo itong episode na to, why not share it on your social media accounts? Use the hashtag GKYX Carballo, and also share it on your IG stories. Also, we're on Spotify, so click the notification bell, give us 5 stars, and share us your thoughts on this episode. And if you enjoyed this episode, you can see more from our TikTok and social media accounts. It's at GKYPod. And yeah, lagi po nating pakatandaan na at the end of the day, what is important is the advocacy and how we live and impact in this world. At ito pa rin ang Ganito Sayan.
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.